To take a class on how to start my videos. This is an arts and crafts video, and I'm going to show you how to make this really cool thing. It's actually a mask that I made. It was supposed to be a crow in memory of my friend Tammy, who passed away a few years ago. There was a group of us gals that used to like hang out in this Facebook page. I'm still part of, but I've made some wonderful friends. Unfortunately, one of my friends, her name was Tammy Ford, she passed away. She loved crows, and I had wanted to make a mask with stuff from the Dollar Tree, because it's, like, it's the Dollar Tree, So I'm going to show you this is the craziest thing. It's awesome for Halloween coming up. If you want to do old school, make your own really weird mask. But if you've ever seen this hanging up on my wall in a video, I don't know about YouTube, but when I used to do Zoom a lot, that was so fun. People would make comments all the time about this thing that's up on the wall. It's not a statue or anything like that. It is really, literally just a nail that was there when we moved here, and I hung the wings up that I rescued and made into fairy wings. I glued them to a backpack. Had it since my kid was little bitty. We still have it. And then one day I just hung that skeleton up there. And then one day I just hung the mask up there. And people thought it was like a sculpture. That's what they thought it was. And no, they would comment on it. But I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time. So let's go ahead and get started. This is some of the stuff I used is 2 boas from the Dollar Tree. These ornament eyeballs from the Dollar Tree. This bird beak thing from the Dollar Tree. And then I used to use the Jason masks, but they don't have them anymore, so I use paper plates. So I carved out, I just traced, but you could play guess, hold it up to your face first before you start gluing stuff to it. And I did 2. So I made the eyes and the mouth for one, and the eyes and the mouth for the other, and I cut them out. This is easier said than done, because I kept thinking this is feeling a little bit more complicated than I meant for it to. Of course, me adding pencils does not make things less complicated. I was trying to see if it would hold together. I don't know what I was doing. And then I was like, why am I sticking pencils? I don't know what I was doing. But right here, the skull upright, did you see that? Go back and look if you have to. That skull upright, the way I did that was so that when I am done with this, if this turns into a big mess of feathers, which I was just really counting on it turning into a mess of feathers, I'm going to need to be able to understand what's the front and the back from the back side of it, So that skull and crossbones is right side up, so I know how to deal with stuff while I'm still working on it, you know what I mean? This is all ads from Kroger, and I did this for the other one as well. It's just to give it something that I can paint on, give me a nice surface for painting. So yeah, so there's this weird thing that's been happening by our house, is that somebody's been shooting a type of gun that does not need to be shot in the city. It keeps happening. I happened to catch it. Did you hear that? Well, now you probably hear the ambulance, but wow. Like, we live in town, man. It's really weird. So anyway, that was strange, but especially that I caught it on film. But so Mod Podge, I don't buy Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree, and the reason why is for some reason that Mod Podge takes forever to dry. I don't know if it's like bad batches that they just sell to the Dollar Tree and $1.25 tree, but I like real Mod Podge. I put them in the window to dry for a little while, chill and hang out. Have a good time pulling the dried Mod Podge off my fingers. It is sticky, but it's good because the fact that it was already drying and sticky and stuff meant it would dry. So I was going to try to make the eyes with these like I did with the crow mask, but the more I was filling with this paper, I said, no, I'm going to recycle, a cereal box. So I cut one side off and I folded it on the edges. Do you see this, how I did this? The reason why is because it gives me leverage to have something to glue and tape onto the mask later, and it also holds the eyeballs in. That's my little crystal skull named Petra. It's a big rock to help push the stuff down, right? So I was just kind of playing around and trying to brainstorm how I was going to do this. Do I want to do it pink or blue or purple or white? I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. So I was just weighing my options. I had to paint these things, and yes, I make a mess, but that's okay because I know what I'm doing. And I also own a sink and a washcloth, so everything is just fine. But I put them out to dry, off to the side, and then I paint the mask, of course. Honestly, I'm so sorry. I worked so sloppy, so fast. All of this was kind of damp the entire time, but in some ways it was good because when I was fooling with the eyes, damp was better when I was trying to mold the shape of it. I was playing around with it because the quality over the years of these things has gotten way down here. They were floppy. And it kind of sort of reminded me of some kind of like weird fetish underwear. And I got to thinking, if I ever hear anybody say they put their beak on one leg at a time, that's what they meant. You can see the quality is different. The older ones were a lot better quality. So you have to use, I mean, you really do. You got to use this like plastic thing that came with it. I cut the end of it off so I could breathe. And then I just kept fooling with it, fussing and fighting with it, trying to figure out a way to get it to dry on there. If I would just quit messing with it and let it dry overnight, it will dry. So as of the time I'm doing this voiceover, it's still drying technically. But see, the only way I can explain this, how to fool with this type of material, the cereal box, to get it to do what I want, is to traumatize the material. I know that sounds horrible, but I just can't think of any other term for it. Like, I wrinkled it up even before I like painted it. Did I wrinkle it up and then unwrinkled it and then fold? See how I did that so the eyeball won't fall out. And then on the other end where I folded it and I had to like tear a little bit here, tear a little bit there, tear a little bit. It'll make sense in just a second, but it's what gives it leverage so I have something to glue and tape down to the mask later so the eyeballs, so they won't fall off. I don't want my eyeballs falling off while I'm partying, do I? No, I don't think so. See, I flip it out and I tear and give space and tear and give space. And if this fabric is still kind of damp from the paint, it's actually easier for me to work with. So, yeah, while the material is still I don't know what the word is for that. So just tear every just little bit here and there because that's what I have to put the glue on so I can glue my eyeballs onto my mask. Now, if I could go back and do this again, I would have made the beak higher. I actually do know what she turns out looking like. And she's kind of goofy, but I think she's beautiful. But she's goofier than the first one I made, that's for sure. And I was wondering if I could use these little things, but they're not going to work out. So I ended up making one into a rubber band. You'll see in a second. But I was getting real excited. I was like, well, she's starting to come together, huh? I had to make a rubber band, so like here, I was like, let's see if it holds. And it does. Yay. Ooh, these eyeballs are way up on the forehead, and it is good that they're up on the forehead, but the beak being so low does give her a really long look and goofy and kind of strange at the end of all this, but I really like her, so I can't really decide. But see how I put a little strip of tape on almost each one of those little prongy things on the eyes for the connecting it to the mask part. There's glue, there's tape. It was a mess. It was sticky. I kept having to try to figure out how to make it do what I wanted to do. So there was a lot of that. I put some Mod Podge there, set it down, and then I had to figure out how to tape it down too. So I was able to lift up a flap up against it on both sides, just like this. And I put some tape on that plastic part, and then I put that down and pushed it down. So there's just tape and glue all over this thing, or Mod Podge. I love Halloween. I love doing Halloween decorations. I used to always draw ghosts and witches and all this fun stuff. And I loved that I started doing this because I missed my friend and I wanted to make something that reminded me of her. So I didn't know what color. I just kind of did pink a little bit just to cover up where I could see the writing, the newspaper print. But also I was thinking if you could see through, it might make her look like she's got rosy pink cheeks. And then I just started putting Mod Podge everywhere. And anything that has Mod Podge on it that these feathers touch, it's going to stick. Even this little weird ball of yarn at the end of these things, I just shoved it up in there. I'm afraid to cut it off. I'm afraid it's important. If I could do this again, I probably would have tried to paint the inside of the eyes because that blue really kind of takes away and keeps the eyes from popping the way that they could. I really should have painted the inside of the eyes white, but now I know for next time, this one little part was just kind of hanging off the side there. So I got my brush and I just I actually dropped it into the Mod Podge. Oh my goodness. But I just dribbled, dropped some of this Mod Podge here and there, and just kind of smushed it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to let it be. I need to let this dry. There's a lot going on with this mask. She's cute though, huh? Now to wash off my paintbrushes and turn off my candle. We meet again. Yeah. So, if you didn't notice, I forgot to put the ribbons through. And I think that's because I just had a few moments where I was like, maybe I'm going to do it this way or that way or whatever. This is some recycled ribbon. Okay. The other one, I've worn that multiple times. I've worn it to a Halloween party. I've worn it trick-or-treating so that my kid wouldn't feel really embarrassed that mom, I'm tying this in a knot right now, that mom was with them. You know, I'm going to do this video for a long time. Okay, where's my little skull and crossbones? I have my marker. And here we go. These are my sensories. Wow. What a crazy mask. I mean, like, if I had everything else huge. Oh my god. Okay. Oh dear. 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 I could have made the eye sockets a little bit less crazy. I could have painted inside of them. There's a lot I could probably still do. And this wasn't. But if I put the beak way up here, it would have given it more of a look. With my Tammy bird here. I miss Tammy. So many people miss Tammy. And we were all just friends on the internet. But we were all really great friends. You could go really, really crazy, wacky. I love it. I love both of them. Tell me about it. I love Halloween. I love dressing up. And I love these as display up on the wall. And so I don't know where I'm going to put this one at yet. I might retire Tammy for a little while and do... What did I say I wanted to name her? I forgot already. What is your name? You kind of look like a Loretta. I don't know. But this is just an inspiration from that one. All right? Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye. Hi everybody, my name's Dawn. Welcome to Golf Club. Okay.